sometimes you can't be trusted to find yourself the perfect date, and you have to enlist a little bit of help to do that. I'm gonna be going on some blind dates with some books. I am on the hunt for the next best book boyfriend. I need somebody that's going to make me giggle, kick my feet, swoon, maybe even scream, cry, and want to throw a few things. Like, if you know, you know. But I'm not sure I can be trusted to do that. So we're going to be choosing books not based off the cover, not based off of what I've heard about them, but based off of their tropes and things that I enjoy. I enlisted some friends to help me out. Thank you so much to Nikki, Cassidy, Maria, Bree, everybody that helps me come up with the tropes for these books, because I have absolutely no idea what tropes go with what book. I had zero control. My mom actually wrote them on there for me. All I did was wrap them and say, here, you handle it. And I'm so excited. I don't know, I forgot what all was on the list. So I'm truly going in blind, and I think it's gonna be a blast. Today is actually the start of realmathon, which is hosted by Covers with Cassidy. This is a competitive based readathon that you've probably already heard me talk about, but I am the co-host for Team Stingers with Katie from I Would Rather Be Reading. One of the prompts that gives us extra points is actually to find your next book boyfriend or girlfriend. So I think I'm gonna be able to rack up lots of points for Team Stingers this week. So we need to pick a book. What book? I don't know. There are so many choices and they all sound so good. We literally have a little bit of everything. They did so good with these tropes, but I can't remember what any of the books are. Like, we have age gap, only one bed and pining. We have hidden identity, mythical creatures and political intrigue, broken male character and shifter. I don't know. I don't know what to choose, you guys. I wish you could help me. Are you screaming at me through the camera of what you want me to choose? I think I'm gonna go with my gut. I think I'm gonna go with the one that just like immediately caught my attention. Deadly Trials, Assassin Revenge, and Forced Proximity. Don't know what this book is. They wanted me to guess, but like, what is this? Could it be the Bone Witch? But I don't know that the Bone Witch has trials in it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Should we open it up and find out? I think my guess is gonna be the Bone Witch, but I think I'm wrong. Okay. It's Iron and Embers. I forgot that I put this on the list. I'm scared. I should have known exactly what this was. Why did I not know exactly? Okay, you know what? It's fine. It's all fine. How did I not know what this was? It's so obvious now that I know what it is, what the tropes were. Iron and Embers is going to be my first book of realmathon. This is following the sister of our main character in Blood and Steel. I don't think you have to have read Blood and Steel to read this book, but I think it's strongly encouraged to like get the background information and everything for Ren and her love interest. But this is about the warriors of Thesmar. Now we have Ren, who is training to be a deadly assassin, but she is like an apothecarian. She does potions and an alchemist. So I'm curious to see what the like difference is between her and her sister in Blood and Steel, who is very much so wield a sword, stabby. I think Ren's a little bit more subdued. She wasn't my favorite character in Blood and Steel, but I'm very excited to see her get her own book and hopefully come into her own a little bit. This is the Fairy Loot Romantasy edition, by the way. This is not the original cover. The original cover actually looks more like this, except for it is red, but I do like their redesign. We're starting off with a chunky boy, but one that I have been really anticipating. Okay. I'm excited. I unfortunately only got 100 pages into Iron and Embers. Sprints today were a little bit chaotic. There was a lot going on. So many people, which is incredible, but we were yapping and laughing a lot, so I didn't concentrate to get as much read as I wanted, but 100 pages is still a pretty solid start. I unfortunately don't have as many thoughts on this so far as I want to. Like I said, this is following Ren, who is the sister of Thea from the Blood and Steel Legends of Thesmar series, and Torge, who is the Bear Slayer. He's one of the warriors of Thesmar. But now that the war is over, she is looking to get in to this prestigious academy for alchemists, and she keeps getting rejected, and she has now become the poisoner. So there's definitely a grumpy, not grumpy Sunshine. He's definitely very grumpy, and she's a little bit more reserved, and I think that their dynamic is going to work out really well. So far though, I just don't have a lot of thoughts. I like it. I like Helen Scherer's writing style, but most of the beginning was introducing people that may or may not have read the Legends of Thesmar series into the world and kind of what they went through and how all of that ended, which is fine. It's definitely necessary, especially if you want this to be able to be read as a standalone series. But unfortunately for me, I zoned out for a lot at the beginning of it. And then when the plot actually started, I had to be like, wait, okay, clue back in, and it took me out of the story a little bit. It took me way too long to get to where I felt like I could even potentially be invested and to get into more of their romance and their interactions, because it was just so much, not even setup, but rehash, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it when authors give you kind of like a recap of what happened in previous books, but I almost wish it had been skippable, because so many people have read the Legends of Thesmar series, put it as a what previously happened or as like a prologue or something like that, so that it could have been skipped instead of weaving it as much. I don't know. I'm saying completely the opposite of what I normally like, I'm fully aware, but I feel like something could have been done a little bit differently so that I, as somebody who had read that series, didn't feel so disconnected from the beginning of this one. But now that we're starting to get into it a little bit, she has made it to the academy and he has been tasked as her guard, basically her bodyguard. So I'm gonna, I think, really like the bodyguard trope thing that we've got going on. But now that she's made it there and I think the trials and stuff are about to begin, I'm hoping that it picks up for me a lot. Cassidy and Tori, I think, both had pretty similar thoughts in the beginning and they ended up liking it, I think. I'll have to go watch their videos again to find out for sure, but I'm hoping that this starts to work a little bit better for me, because I really like Torge, and even though Rin wasn't my favorite character, I could see her in her own book being somebody I would really enjoy, and I really enjoyed Wilder and Thea, so I'm just really hoping that this starts to work a little bit better for me relatively soon. Have I been sat here reading all day like I said I was going to be? No. There was something wrong with my dryer, so my dad came over and he fixed that, but I did manage to sit down and get a little bit of reading done, and I've made it about 35% into Iron and Embers, but what I really came here to tell you was that I read the one horse scene, and that was a good one horse scene. That's a great one horse scene right there. Like, we had banter and like, yep, incredible. I do appreciate a great one horse scene, but like, that one was top tier. However, I'm still a little bit bored other than that scene. So I'm hoping that now that I've read that and things are like making me giggle, that I will start to feel a little bit more invested. Like, it'll pick up for me, but I just feel like nothing's happening. They've gotten to the school. There's been a little bit of stuff going on, but like they're interacting, but the banter is good, but not great. And then the plot is actually doing nothing, and so I'm just a little bit bored. But I'm hoping now that I've read that scene and it was incredible, start to feel differently. But right now I'm just like, it's okay. It's so disappointing because this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I have some very important things to report this morning. My hair is doing something crazy, but we're not going to talk about it. I did get to 50% of Iron and Embers last night, and I still think it's okay. I'm just not invested. There's not a whole lot going on, and what is going on, unfortunately, is just like, snap, it's done. Any of the action scenes that we have are just so fast and resolved so quickly, and I'm like, wait, what? I had to go back and reread a couple of times because I was like, wait, something big must have happened from the way they're acting, but I missed it, and I'm physically reading. So like, I don't really understand why we're not really digging into some of this stuff, so I'm a little bored and not as invested as I want to be, and that hurts me because I was so excited for this book. But yeah, I'm only halfway through. Hopefully it'll start to pick up. I'm not going to DNF it because I'm not hating it. I'm just bored, but I do think I'm going to want to continue on in the series, so I'm going to finish it. So I'm going to listen to that on the way to work this morning. Hopefully it gets better. I'm just so disappointed. Okay, so it is time to chat final thoughts on Iron and Embers and pick my next read. I just finished this, and I don't love rating things when I've just finished them, but I took Ollie for a walk and came back in and had finished it up, and I think this is going to get a 3.5 star. I liked a lot of things about this, but unfortunately I just never fully sank into the story. I really enjoyed the like yearning in here. The main characters were definitely like push and pull, the bodyguard vibes. All of that was done really, really well. There was some great banter and back and forth moments, but I just did not ever feel as invested as I wanted to. I always felt like there was an arm's length between me and the characters and the relationship, and I don't really know why that is, but I loved the moments that I loved. I feel like this could have been a great romance, and I'm not really sure what exactly was missing for me. The ending was a little anticlimactic for me. I felt like the big battle, the big like thing we were working toward, just felt like it was resolved really easily, and that is a complaint that I keep having with this author. Is I'm like, give me stakes, make things happen, but this whole book just felt like anytime we had a conflict, we kind of glazed over it and kept on moving, and I want to be in it with the characters. I want to be in the conflict, in the action, in the battles, and never really felt that way. I also think that the smut, while really well done, drug on for far too long. Some of these sex scenes in here would go on for 3 and 4 chapters. While the chapters were short, it was still like, okay, I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit, and then it would continue, and then I would skip ahead a little bit and it would continue, and I was just like, Okay, this is a lot. Like, I like some smut in my books. I like seeing that development, but this is a lot. And I think I wanted more of like the back and forth between them overall. So liked, didn't love, 3.5 star. Would I recommend this if you are a fan of the Legends of Thesmar series? Yes, I do think it's worth a read. These characters feel different enough from Thea and Wilder. Torge is definitely very, very grumpy, and I liked that about him. And I will continue and read the sequel, but I'm gonna temper my expectations a little bit for that one. I do think you should read the Legends of Thesmar series before moving into this series though, because you're getting all of their history, most of their backstory, and how they meet in that, and then there's a lot of like things referenced that happened in that series. So if you jump straight to this one, you're most definitely going to get spoiled for that one, and some pretty big plot points spoiled actually, and you're going to be missing out on a lot of the foundation for these characters. So just keep that in mind if you choose to skip over that and go straight into this one. Well, I filmed that whole clip and realized I am a rookie and did not give you what Iron and Embers gave us for realmathon. So let me quickly tell you how many points Iron and Embers got Team Stingers. 586 pages means that we got 40 points for our page bonus. It was not an urban setting, but I think Torge could be my next book boyfriend. I quite liked him, even though I had some issues with the book overall. He was not one of them. It was an author I have read from before, because Helen Scher, Legends of Thesmar series, one of my favorites, but I don't think I would consider this an urban setting. There were definitely moments where it felt more urban, but I wouldn't say that this whole book was an urban setting. So now we're up to 60 points, and then we're going to be defending these Stingers for 14 points, which gives us a total of 74 points. So now we need to pick the next book, which I am excited about. I have no idea. I haven't looked yet to see what I'm going to be interested in, so let me do a little perusal and we'll see what we end up with. There's some really good options on here. I don't know what to pick. I think I know what is going to be next. I have a prediction on what this is, and part of the reason that I want to go with this one is because if I'm right, it is a different genre. This would be a dark romance, and it just might break up a little bit of all the fantasy romance that I've been reading. I feel like I need a good palate cleanser, and so this I think would be that. I wrapped this one differently, which you would think would mean I would know exactly what it is. It doesn't. This one is a snarky female main character, mafia, and mutual pining. I think this is the next book in the Gods of Malice series. I think it's God of Pain by Rena Kent. The reason I say that is because it's the only one I can think of that I put on here that would have mafia in it. And so that's my guess. Am I right? Probably not. But I do know that that book is still a female-male relationship. There is one that is male-male that I'm very excited to read, but this one is not. So we could still have a snarky female main character. I think the next book did have that. So let me unwrap. Let's see if I'm right. I feel like I'm not right, but nope. Very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. I did not own this book, so what we have is The Consulate, which I saw had an urban setting. I did forget that it had mafia, but I want to say it may also have vampires. So still different vibes from this fantasy romance. It's kind of more of like a paranormal urban romance. So different vibes. I think it'll be great. I, like I said, don't know much about it. I just found it on a list and went, ooh, that sounds really interesting. I'm going to wrap the book. So we're going to find out together what the heck this is, and will it be a new favorite? I certainly hope so. We are back in front of the books, which means that I was not able to finish The Consulate. I just wasn't really vibing with it. I felt like I was missing an entire series. It opened up and we started talking about all of these characters and all of these things that had happened, and I was like, wait, have I missed a book? Did I miss some background information? And I went and looked at her website, and no, this is the first book in a new series of standalones, but it's like she missed laying the groundwork and skipped straight to the middle of the book, and I just never really gained my footing or found that I cared enough to try to sort through all of the minutia to try to figure out what the world building was actually like, which is really disappointing because honestly, I think this could have had some really, really good bones. The world building, what I could get of it, seemed very, very interesting, very intricate, a little bit political. We had necromancers, we had poltergeist. It was going to be not exactly mafia, but definitely a little bit of those vibes and hidden away from humans. It was going to have impeccable vibes, but unfortunately it just wasn't really delivering on that. I did read the reviews and I don't think I was the only one to have this problem. A lot of people said that the romance made it worth it for them, but about 25% I still hadn't hit the romance yet. And so even though I kept trying to push through without some payoff, I just really wasn't I don't know, I wasn't invested and I didn't really want to continue. So I am going to be DNFing this one. I don't think I'm going to get any page count bonuses because this book was relatively short anyway. As far as bonuses, we are going to get a +10 for it being an urban setting. I don't think I'm really going to consider this my next book boyfriend because I didn't get enough of him to really be able to tell, and this is not an author that I've read from before, which means that with all of the prompts and everything, it's going to give us a total of 25 points, which is not bad. It definitely could have been better, but that's okay. Now, moving on to the next pick, we have World is Our Oyster. We have all of the choices. Can I pick a little bit better than I did last time? I don't know. I do want an audiobook though, because this one didn't have an audiobook and so I wasn't able to listen to it on my way to and from work, which is when I get a lot of my reading done, and tomorrow is one of my longer days. So fingers crossed that whatever I choose ends up being an audiobook. I found choices. I have several different choices. See, I think I may pick a couple and actually let my Patreons choose for me because I don't know what I want to read. And I feel like I have chosen 2 duds. So we need a win. We need something solid. So the ones that I'm going to give them, I'm going to give them 5. We have Slow Burn, Morally Gray Male Main Character, and Touch Her and Die, which sounds really good. What do I think that is? I have no earthly idea. Murder Mystery, Gangs, and Why Choose. The gangs and the why choose is very much so throwing me off. Yeah, I don't know about that one either. Paranormal, love triangle, and horror elements. I think this could be Anathema, which just recently got an audiobook or is about to get an audiobook, so I should probably verify that. This is either Anathema or Fairytale, but I think Fairytale is actually dark fantasy, slow burn, and historical, and I still want to read that one as well, but Anathema I think is more what I'm in the mood for. I don't really want silly goofy right now. I want something a little bit more serious. I'm not feeling fun and feisty. We have Dark Feminine Rage and Forbidden Love. That one sounds like it could be really good. Don't know what that is. And Demons, Revenge, and Fake Dating. This could... Is this the Umbra Fae book? Which is new and I don't really know much about it. But does it have demons in it? I can't remember. I can't tell if it's actually short or not because I don't own that book, so this may not be the actual book. Okay, I'm gonna leave it in the pile of possibilities. Go give them the poll and then I will come back and let you know what they chose. So I've been sat here for the last 10 minutes just waiting on votes to roll in, and the people have spoken. We are going to be going with Slow Burn, Morally Gray, Male Main Character, and Touch Her and Die. Apparently they think that these are my vibes, which honestly, accurate. It was a tough decision. We had a solid run on Murder Mystery, Gangs, and Why Choose, which I don't know what book that is. I have no idea. Gangs? What has Gangs and Why Choose? I don't know. But anyway, let's open up this baby and see what I'm going to be reading next. They better have picked me a win. Okay, I don't think they did this on purpose. I truly, truly don't. We're going to be reading Burn for Me. This is actually my Patreon buddy read for the month, so it works out really well. I was either going to read it now or for the Peace Gala, but now it is. We're going to be reading Burn for Me by Alana Andrews. I don't get these tropes for this book. Like, I would have thought that it would have been more like a detective murder mystery. I did not know that we had a Touch Her and Die morally gray male main character. I am now significantly more intrigued. This one I think will hit the urban setting, which is great. Hoping to have the next new book boyfriend. This is an earlier 2000s paranormal romance, and fingers crossed that it works for me, because if it doesn't, Maria and my friendship might just be over. So I'm very excited. I have the audiobook actually downloaded on Everend and ready to go for whenever it came up, and now is our time. I've made it to 25% into Burn for Me, and I have thoughts. I want to love this book with my whole heart. I have heard so many good things about it. Maria and Bay have been screaming at me to pick it up, and I'm not 100% sure about it at the moment. This is a more old school paranormal romantasy with superheroes, kind of. Basically, this is a world just like ours, but they figured out how to trigger people's powers, essentially. And now people can have things such as truth-telling and telekinesis and things of that nature, but there are varying levels, and you can be like just a hint of power, or you can be a prime, somebody that has all of this power. And they're used a lot in like the military and our our main character is part of a private investigating agency that was bought out by this overarching company when her dad died and they weren't able to make ends meet. And so she's been taking jobs that she knows she can accomplish just to try to keep their head above water. But there is this pyrokinetic, kills a security guard, and his family is very, very wealthy. They want him brought in, they want him brought back into the fold, but they don't want him captured by the cops and arrested, even though he actually did this thing. So she has been tasked with the impossible because he could literally burn her to death, bringing him in alive. She doesn't want help. She's just gonna do it because she doesn't really have a choice. They're threatening to take their company if she doesn't. When she gets the help of Mad Rogan, who is one of the prime telekinetics and has been basically a shut-in since he left the military. The first 25% of this is just a lot of setup. We're kind of getting introduced into the story. There's a lot about her family, lots and lots and lots of family dynamics. If you like family dynamics, you're going to be head over heels in love with that part. I'm a little bored. I don't necessarily care about the day-to-day details and I don't know, it's just something about it that isn't fully sucking me in. There's the grandmother and the mom, and they talk about all of these different like sniping things, and it is cute family dynamics, but there is a lot of it, and I keep waiting to like get more into the romance part of the story. And at 25%, Rogan has been talked about, but he hasn't actually really shown up, and they haven't interacted at all. And I don't really love that. I keep waiting for all of this swoon romance. And at 25% of the book, I feel like I should have at least seen them sort of interact. And I hear that I'm almost to the payoff, so I'm really hoping that once they meet and they start talking, it starts to work better for me. Ironic though, because I said I wanted an audiobook, and this is not an audiobook kind of book. The narrator sounds like she's about 65 with a really fake Southern accent, and it pulls me completely out of the story because her voice for Rogan, not it. It doesn't make him sound sexy at all. And more than anything, there is a lot of humor in this book, and it's a very dry humor, and she just doesn't deliver deadpan well. And so it seems like it's something the character's actually thinking, actually saying, when they're actually being sarcastic. And so it's just kind of, the tone of the book is a little weird. So I have listened to some of it because I needed an audiobook, but now I'm going to be going back into it physically. We are on sprints tonight, so I'm hoping I can get a good chunk of it read because I really wanted to finish this today. I have now made it to halfway in Burn For Me, and I'm happy to report that I am liking it better. The characters have finally met. They are interacting. She has agreed to use his help, and their interaction, like their meeting scene, was very fun. They had some really good banter. It's a very sarcastic humor. Rogan definitely has a very dry sense of humor, which I can certainly appreciate. I want to be kicking my feet, and I'm still not quite there yet. Maria said it was very slow burn. It took her a while to get to the point where she was kicking her feet, but I'm just not there yet. And while I continue to like it better as I go, every time I get a little further, I am liking it more. I just feel like it's okay, and I don't have a lot of concrete thoughts. Like, I like it better than I did before, but I'm not overly connected to it. I'm not completely enthralled by the romance. I don't necessarily care about these family dynamics. The plot is okay, but a little bit boring. And so it's fine. It's okay. And that's kind of where I'm sitting right now, which again is big sad because I feel like this whole vlog is just me saying, well, it's okay, but I want like a win. I want to be gushing, screaming, crying, throwing up about a book, and I'm just not quite there yet. But I'm willing to be surprised. I'm willing for this second half to just completely blow me away and for me to be super, super invested because I really want to be. I have finished Burn For Me, and I'm kind of scared to talk about it because I know this is such a well-loved book, but I think I'm going to give it a 3-star. That's my gut. I definitely will sit on that a little bit and see if my thoughts change at all because I did not hate this book. I just feel relatively ambivalent toward it. There's plenty of things that I liked about it a lot. Rogan, I quite liked. I thought that he was a rugged and sarcastic lead that I can certainly appreciate the humor. Our female main character grew on me. I didn't love Nevada when we first started the book. I was like, I'm not sure about you, but she definitely did grow on me as we went along. I liked their relationship and the points where they were together and kind of talking, and him trying to seduce her but her kind of not wanting to give in. I did like that push and pull. I like the slow burn, but I think my biggest issue with this book is it is very plot driven in a similar way that a lot of the paranormal romances were in the time when this was written, but it it just didn't have enough romance. I think I wanted it to be a slow burn, but I wanted that mutual pining, the push and pull, them working together. I don't know, I just needed more interaction between the two of them, and they were on page together for a decent amount, so I don't know exactly how to express what I felt and why I wanted that, because they were together a decent bit, but I feel like the plot and the like thriller aspect of this took over so much, and I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't invested in the plot. I didn't care about this manhunt. I didn't find this guy to be this big bad or super scary. Even though the world was cool, I just never really got invested in why I should care about that and that he was really this big bad. And I think the overarching plot that they tried to bring in toward the end of the book needed more page time and more development. So on the one hand, things about this book I definitely enjoyed. On the other hand, a lot that I feel like could have been better for me. And so I think I'm settling on a 3-star as of right now. But that doesn't mean it's not going to get us some points. So let's go in and look. This book was 368 pages, so it's only going to get us 20 bonus points for page count, but I still feel like that's pretty solid. Okay, this is an urban setting. I have not read from this author before. I thought that I had a long time ago, back when I was reading more paranormal romances, but I actually had not, so that won't count for us. But I do think that we're going to consider this my next book boyfriend, because while I had problems with this book, I did like Rogan, so I feel like it's going to count. So that will give us 20 more points. And then I think I'm going to do increasing again. I'm going to defend the stingers, and we are going to get 15 points for prompts for a total of 55 points if I'm mathing correctly. So that feels like a very solid read. Now that means we get to move down to the floor where all of my books are, and we're going to be picking which blind date I'm going to be going on next. So far, my speed date, my blind dates have been a little bit of duds, but like I'm convinced we're going to go on a good date here pretty soon. We're going to find the book that I'm just like gonna love. I know it. We are back. We are back with my blind dates. They are starting to look a little bit more sparse, so I may need to put some more blind dates up on the up on the shelves up here, but let me do a little perusing and see what date we're gonna go on next. Okay, we're gonna shoot my shot one more time, and I think I'm gonna go with Dark Feminine Rage and Forbidden Love. I don't know what this book is. I feel like I can't remember what's on the list. My goldfish memory is getting me, because I made the list, but I made the list a very long time ago and I wasn't allowed to look at it after that. So what is on here? I don't know. Could this be God of Pain? It's dark. I think the love is forbidden, but is it Feminine Rage? I don't know. This is These Shadows Become Her. I don't remember putting this on the list. Was this one of those that I just like tossed on there? Very possibly. I don't remember putting this on the list at all. And of course it does not have an audiobook, and I really need an audiobook, so we may actually open 2 books. We may open 2. A Forbidden Love, it has vampires. I think this is an urban setting, which is maybe why I put it on the list. It has a very good Goodreads rating, and I think I saw it where like there were some tropes that I thought were going to be really, really good. So we're going to try it. We're going to see how it goes. Hopefully this ends up being a huge win for me, but I don't remember putting this one on the list. Oh my gosh, Mel, what is wrong with you? Okay, one more time, we're going to shoot for an audiobook. So what am I going to pick? I don't know. Age gap, only one bed, and pining. Different from what I've been reading. Do we go with that? I don't know what this is. I'm gonna say that for everything. I have no idea what any of these are, but that's fine. It's all fine. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this one. We got Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is very different from what I've been reading recently, which could be a very good thing for me. This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Spring series, which I have been loving reading this year. I've been in my cowgirl era with these books. They are a little bit too perfect at times, but there's just something about them that sucks me in. I can read it so fast. I am usually giggling and kicking my feet and just so excited to pick up these books. So maybe this is going to be the next win for me. Maybe a good palate cleanser is exactly what I needed. This one is about 2 childhood friends, 2 broken hearts, and 1 impromptu road trip to get away from everything. That's all this was supposed to be. So this one is Jasper's book, and I did not know this was an age gap, but pining, it's gonna have impeccable pining, and I am absolutely here for it. I can't believe that I didn't guess this one. I think it was the age gap that threw me off. I knew the last one, Heartless, was an age gap. I did not know that this one was an age gap. I'm excited. It is quite bright outside. It's actually pretty early. I'm sitting here waiting for Rachel's realmathon sprints to start, but I figured I would update you guys really quickly on Powerless. I have been going back and forth between Powerless and These Shadows Become Her, but I really haven't gotten a lot of reading done in the last couple of days. Ollie had a stomach virus, and so we had to go to the vet on Friday. He's doing okay, but he's a sad boy because he doesn't feel good, so I've just been hanging out with him. And being a vegetable, I just haven't really been in the mood to read, but today I'm hoping is my day, and I was able to listen to a little bit of Powerless. Thank goodness I decided to add an audiobook to our last pick because otherwise I wouldn't have read at all. But Powerless is the third book in the Chestnut Springs series, and it is following Jasper, who is a hockey player, and his childhood best friend Sloane. When we open up, Sloane is about to get married to a guy that she really doesn't even like, much less love, but he's convenient. Her dad really likes him, and she's like, sure, whatever. The man of my dreams is not into me. We're always just gonna be friends. And so she gets to the altar and gets a video of him at his bachelor party. He screwed one of the prostitutes, and so she's like, great, now I have an out. I can get out of this wedding. So Jasper whisks her away and takes her back to Chestnut Springs, where she's just trying to figure out what life looks like now. This is a second chance romance, and it is also friends to lovers, two tropes which I don't typically like. So I'm curious to see if Elsie Silver can make me love these tropes. Normally I prefer to see the relationship develop, so second chance romances don't always work for me, and this is a second chance in the fact that they were like friends and really liked each other when they were kids, but nothing ever really became of it. But I like to see the relationships develop and become relationships, and even though they're never been romantically involved, they do have a history that we didn't really get to see. So I'm curious to see if I will be able to fully sink into the romance because of that. But then also friends to lovers, I typically like a little bit more bite in my books personally. So I'm curious to see again if this has enough spunk to it or if I'm gonna find it too sweet and boring. At the moment, I'm about 30% of the way in because these books read so fast, and I am having a good time. I think Elsie Silver puts crack in her books. My main complaint for the previous Elsie Silver books was just that they were too perfect. The characters had it all together, and I do appreciate that neither one of these characters really has it all together, and they're just trying to figure things out as they go. I am missing getting to see their development of their relationship, but we are getting a few flashbacks and things that's helping some with that. And even though Sloane is actually a very sweet character, Jasper's a little grumpy trying to get his temper under control. So at the moment, I'm still really enjoying it, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be my favorite of the three, but I'm having a really good time. Again, Elsie Silver just puts crack in her books. Like, I don't know, there's just something about them that makes me fly through the pages and have a great time while I'm reading it, and I don't think this one's going to be any exception. Otherwise, I don't really have a lot to report on These Shadows Become Her. I'm only about 5% of the way into it so far, and I haven't even gotten past the point where the synopsis cuts off, so I'll check back in with you guys on that one a little bit later. I think I'm going to try to read it on sprints, so hopefully I'll have an update when I come back. Okay, sprints are almost over, and I have been reading These Shadows Become Her for most of the sprints. I keep getting distracted. I do not want to DNF another book in this vlog. We were supposed to be finding my next book boyfriend, and unfortunately I feel like I've had a lot of dud opinions, and I hate that. I want to be living in my giggling life, but I am not convinced that this is going to be the book for me. I'm about 22% of the way in so far, and it's just moving at a snail's pace. I feel like nothing is really happening. Mia, our main character, is just spending the whole time being like, woe is me, and wallowing in like self-deprecation, and I don't know. I think that there's a place for that, but I also want the plot to move forward a little bit. This is a 500-page book and 110 pages in. The romance has barely started. Pretty much the majority of the story has just been her getting completely wasted and falling in all of these different men's beds because she didn't like something that happened to her and she got told no, essentially. This is about Mia in a bustling city, and women are now given the opportunity to become apprentices. So she and her adopted sister Callie are going to be going to this ceremony to see about who they're going to be apprenticed with, and she is hoping to become the apprentice of one of the famous painters. She's told no, she doesn't get any apprenticeships, and then falls into a pit of despair. This goes on for a while, and then she finds her sister Callie murdered in the streets, and a vampire is standing over her. I wish the world building was a little bit more clear because I don't fully understand where fae and vampires, like what their role is in this world. There's a death court and something like that, but I don't know. It's a little bit murky. Like I said, most of the first 100 pages is her just wallowing in the fact that she wasn't chosen and her sister trying to kind of pull herself out of it. So we've just gotten to the point where the funeral has happened. This is all in the synopsis, and she has met the vampire. I'm gonna give it a little bit longer and see if now that the love interest has come into play, if things pick up a little bit and the plot really kicks off, because right now I don't know, other than I guess it's gonna be a murder mystery, what exactly is supposed to take up the next 400 pages. So we'll see. I hope I come back and I have a completely different attitude, because this actually has really good reviews on Goodreads. And so I'm like, okay, what am I missing? Why am I not head over heels in love with this? But I am very, very bored. So I may switch back to Powerless just to give me something like fun to read. I don't know. I hate that I'm not coming to you guys with better news, but we don't have time for bad books. I cannot find my next book boyfriend if I am slogging through things I'm not enjoying. So we'll see. I'll let you know. We've got one more sprint to go, and if I start liking it more, great, I'll continue. If not, then we will be considering this a sad set day. Good news, I have made it a little further into These Shadows Become Her, and I'm now like 35% of the way through, but when the murder mystery started to kick in, the book picked up quite a lot. Idris, who I think is going to be the love interest and like the super slow burn, has now shown up and is playing a lot bigger role, and I'm much more interested now than I was before. So I think we are currently out of DNF territory, which I am very, very excited about. I'm curious to see what this murder mystery is going to evolve into, and we're starting to see a little bit more of Mia and why the prologue was there, because in the beginning I was like, this prologue's interesting, but what's the point? And she has a little bit of magic, so we're starting to kind of see that. I think there may be a little bit of a voice in the head type trope that could be developing, so at the moment I'm having a lot more fun, so please, please, please keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay, I've been sat here really, really struggling with what to do about These Shadows Become Her, because like I want to find my next book boyfriend in this vlog, but I am struggling. Apparently I should not choose what books go on lists anymore, because this is not going as well as I wanted it to. But we've still got one book to go, so fingers crossed that one's gonna work for me, because so far it is going better. But I've been sat in this chair for the last 4 hours reading These Shadows Become Her, and I've gotten 200 pages into it with pulling my teeth and finding something else to do every other chapter. And even though it definitely got better once the murder mystery kicked in and Idris came into play, this just feels at the moment like a 2.5, 3-star book. And if somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I finished it, it gets amazing, it's so good, and there was somebody I trusted, I would continue it. I'm not disliking it like that, but it just is one of those books where I'm like, we could do so much better, you know? So I think I'm going to DNF a second book in this vlog. Ugh, rip me. I just am bored, and there are things that are annoying me that probably wouldn't annoy me because I'm waffling with what to do. And so I think I just need to put it down. Does that mean I'll put it down forever? Maybe not, especially like I said, if somebody were to reach out and say, yeah, it's incredible, finish it, the payoff is worth it. But as of right now, I don't feel like it's worth it. So I think I'm gonna DNF it, because I want to be head over heels about the romance, and apparently this is a really slow burn, which I can appreciate. But one of the issues I'm having with the romance right now is the author's trying to create banter and tension, but it feels so forced and unnatural that I am like, this is not cute, this is not sexy, this is not mutual pining, this is just words. And I don't feel anything, and I really want to feel. I need my banter to make me giggle. I need it to make me giddy. I need to be like, yes. But I don't feel that way. There's nicknames in here, which again should be cute and fun, and it's just being overused. It's like every other sentence. And that's one of those things where I was like, I don't know if this would bug me if I were already slightly annoyed at the book, or if it's just not working for me. I don't know. As much as I want to love it, the vibes are good. Like the vampire gas lamp murder mystery type vibes, incredible. It's just really the like character work that I am struggling with. Well, no, I'm a little bored too. I don't know. It's just not working for me. So I need to quit making excuses and trying to talk myself back into picking it up, because I've literally been going back and forth on what I was going to do about this for 4 hours. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to DNF it. We're going to be on to Powerless, which is going a lot better, and hopefully Jasper will be the book boyfriend of this vlog. With that being said, I do need to tell you quickly how many points this is going to get me, because I did get to the point where I can DNF it and count it for points. So let me quickly pull up the spreadsheet and we'll see. It's not going to get me any page count points because I read 200 pages of it, but we should be able to get some other points. It will get 10 points for an urban setting. I do know that much. And I liked Idris. Is it Idris or Idris? I liked Idris. Will he be my next book boyfriend? He could have been if he had had more page time, maybe. It's mostly Mia that's not really working for me, so I think I'm going to count him. So in total, this is going to be getting us 31 points, which, you know, is really not bad considering that this was not the best book that I've read this week. We're going to move on to Powerless, and hopefully it goes a little bit better because I really need a win in this vlog. I'm having the best time. Things are going well over here right now. Things are going very, very well. Jasper is just the best, like, sad, oblivious boy, you guys. I am living for this book right now. Jasper will be my next book boyfriend. I'm currently 50% of the way in, and I know I said that like second chance really wasn't my thing, but somehow she's making this trope have so much yearning in it, and I am absolutely living for it. Living for it. Don't get me wrong, the miscommunication trope is definitely here because clearly if they would just talk about their feelings, they would be together, but it's working. It's working them not talking about their feelings, but they're starting to talk about their feelings and like, I'm having the best time. I'm having a great time. Jasper absolutely can be my next book boyfriend because like, yes. I just have to read you guys this quote because like the squeal I squealed. The squeal I squealed. So basically he's talking to her about how he didn't go to one of her like big events and her dad basically scared him off because he is the orphan boy. He is beneath her. He didn't need to be with her. And he says, times have changed, Sloan. I'm not scared anymore. You're not my fucking friend. You're just mine. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Okay, I literally have been sat here reading this book and I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. I will probably finish this tonight because I am obsessed. I am addicted. I am having the best time. There's just something about these books, you guys. If you haven't picked them up, just try it. Just try it because she puts crack in her books, I swear. But before we move on to anything further reading-wise, I do have a quick realmathon update for you guys. So Cassidy has just given us some sneaky sneaks, some hinty hints that I wanted to share with you guys. The very important information that I need you to know is that we have been attacked the most by the ravens. I don't know what's happening, but apparently they're out to get us. I am so happy to report that we can end the vlog with a book boyfriend. Finally, Jasper is amazing, incredible. Loved this book, had the best time with this. I really truly did not think that second chance romance, friends to lovers was really going to work for me, but somehow it managed to have so much angst and pining that I still had the best time. Elsie Silver doesn't really write the third act breakup. There was definitely a third act conflict in here, which I liked, but I kind of wish had been explored more throughout the story. I wish that their backstories and kind of their own traumas and things that kept them from one another was explored in just a little bit more depth because it just felt like all of this all at once at the end, and while we got to see it in the beginning, I just wish it was woven throughout just a little bit better. But overall, I had the best time with this. As always, in the second half of the book, it got a little too spicy for me. I was skipping a decent bit of the smut scenes. She writes very, very good smut. It just got to be a lot where I was like, okay, this is going on for 3 or 4 chapters. It's time to move it along. Let's pick it up a little bit. So I did skim over a little bit of that, and once they are together, it always loses me just a tad because I'm like, let's go back to the drama. Let's go back to the angst. But I still really enjoyed the moments where they were together, the way that their relationship grew. Could have done without the epilogue. I could always do without the epilogue. That's fine. So I think in the end, this is going to get a 4-star, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would strongly recommend Elsie Silver, the Chestnut Spring series, if you're looking to get into romance. She puts crack in her books. So we do need to see how many points this is going to get us, and then I think we are going to wrap up this vlog. So this is going to get us how many page count prompts? 429 pages, which is 40 points, just barely in that 400 page mark, but it is. So 40 points for page count. As always, we're going to try to increase. We try to defend as much as we can. This is not really an urban setting. They spend most of their time in small towns. Definitely next book boyfriend or girlfriend, an author that I have read from before, so that is another 20 points for us. And then I'm almost positive that a host has given this 5 stars, but we're gonna go look really quick. I bet you Katie did. Tori did, so it counts. Tori gave this a 5-star. So this is gonna give us a total of 57 points. That is solid, you guys. So we have defended quite a lot for the Stingers team this week. Stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to be doing another episode of reading down my shelves, and it's going to have a little bit of a twist to it. And I'm not going to be in control of choosing which shelf I pick. So if you guys want to see the previous episode, I will leave it up here for you. Please, 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 if you have not already, go check out Realmathon. All of the information is going to be linked down in the description box. Cassidy has worked so very hard on it, and I'm having the best time. It is not too late to join. You can still join, count the books that you've read this month, and you should absolutely join Team Stingers. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me an ice skate emoji for Powerless. As always, thank you guys so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!